Hello everyone, welcome back to another Friday and another casual champion review. It's deer time, one of my most favorite fellows. We've done a lot of these recently actually, I guess because Ivern, Kog'Maw, Lillia is close enough alphabetically. Warwick and Volibear, bit more of a ways off. I'm excited to talk about Lillia today because like I said, she is one of my most favorite champions, but also just like the snake and the goat and the big Cho, I do have a redesign I did of her. So I'm excited to talk about that, what I would have liked Lillia to be, but also the things that I do and don't like about the current Lillia, because I do really like her in a wholesome way. We'll talk about that too. But you know what I'm most excited to talk about? Fan art section. Look at, there's so many. There's so many. It's just so many good ones. And this, I was kind of worried. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit worried, but I am blown away. They're so wholesome and so nice. There's a whole bunch of ones with the Lillia redesign in there that they did. And I'm gonna talk about that in this video as well. But it's just absolutely amazing. Thank you, fellas, so much. I love it. This is game number 2 though that I am playing, because the first game I can only describe as I was swarm brained. This is going to be kind of interesting because I'm fighting Aurora, who is, in my opinion, just kind of Lillia designed to be a mid laner, which you may notice I am playing Lillia mid because that is just how I enjoy her. I do not like Lillia jungle. I'll talk about that a bit, but that's kind of the reason that I fell in love with this champion, again, in a wholesome way. So in terms of Lillia's lore, she has not really done a whole lot. I think that is primarily because she was kind of overshadowed by Yone. For the people who don't remember, Yone released the patch after Lillia because they were both part of the Spirit Blossom event. So Lillia really got no time in the sun. I think Yone got more skins in a 10-month time frame than Lillia has gotten in her entire existence. But in terms of her actual lore, kind of ironically, she is connected to one of my, or I guess my most favorite champion, because when Ivern was still Ivern the Cruel, he cut down the God Willow. And when that God Willow fell, it infused him with its power. Oh! And so Ivern essentially became the new God Willow, and by nature of the tree falling down, seeds from the God Willow fell all over the place, and Ivern thought he needed to repent. I can't words today. He needed to repent for the sins of his past, so he helped to nurture these seeds, and it became a garden, the Garden of Forgetting, also known as the Omikailon. And one of these seeds grew into the Dreaming Tree, which would basically absorb and spread mortal desires in the form of their dreams and would form little flower buds on its branches, kind of like storing away the good dreams for safekeeping. Until one day the dream, I guess, was sentient and had a dream of its own, and that dream sprouted into a big bud and then fell to the ground, and out came a big fawn-like creature, which is Lillia. And Lillia, right from her birth, basically became the tree's caretaker in Ivern's absence, because Ivern's out traveling the world trying to help everybody. So it's Lillia's job to tend to the buds and the dreams within them. But she grew to not just love her own job, I guess her self-appointed job, and the dreams that hid within the buds, but she grew to adore the dreamers, the humans that dreamt them in the first place, and she wanted to meet them in person. And that dream of Lillia's would also manifest into a bud on the Dreaming Tree in its own little branch. But then one day, my back legs were just, that's a Lillia hitbox moment right there. But unbeknownst to her, her dream would eventually become a reality as the Noxian invasion was going on at this time. And so dreams started to become sparse, turning more into nightmares. I don't know if the Dreaming Tree even collects those. I don't think they do that. It's probably Nocturne's territory or something if they rework it. But as this darkness started to creep into Ionia, it started to infect the Dreaming Tree and is slowly dying as a result. In fact, the Dreaming Tree became weak enough that its magic started to fail, and so outsiders could start making their way into the Omikailon. And then one day, a band of warriors was chasing down a lone figure who, I think it's hypothesized that it's Yasuo, but it's never really confirmed. So even if they try to make a Lillia for the mid lane on purpose, I'm still gonna play this crap. So the lone warrior started slashing, trying to get rid of the outsiders, but slashed at the mother tree and cut down the branch that was holding Lillia's dream, which is the branch that she's holding right now. And Lillia was panicking. She had seen humans with her own eyes and was terrified of them. Like, oh, these aren't like the dreams at all. They're terrifying. So she uses her sleep magic and puts them all to sleep, now terrified of humanity's true nature, but realizing that they were kind of scared too. And she realizes, well, my mother tree is dying. I have this special dreaming power. maybe I could help heal their dreams. So now she's more terrified of the outside world than ever, but realizes she has a noble mission to help the people of Ionia to get their good dreams back and to, of course, heal her mother tree. And then like something, she meets Yone, and I hate that guy, so we're skipping over it. That's really all that they've done with her. Admittedly, they haven't done a whole lot else with Yone either. It's more been to progress Yasuo, but Lillia is kind of a non-player, though what I would absolutely love more than anything else is because Ivern is technically the God Willow now, and the God Willow sprouted the seeds that became the Mother Tree, and then the Mother Tree sprouted Lillia. So by all technicality, Ivern is Lilia's grandfather, and Lillia is his granddaughter. The shy, timid, extroverted granddaughter and the extrovert, happy, peppy grandfather. Oh, that is such a fun dynamic. And I really want to see more of it. Like, I would kill for like a short story or a comic or like anything of just like family hanging out, having fun, just trying to make the world a better place. Like, God, I want it so badly. Because the only real champion interactions she's had is hypothetically that Lone Warrior's Yasuo. Apparently Nocturne is hunting her, which I don't even count that because Nocturne is not even a real character. And then there's Yone, who it's hinting at a romantic relationship, and I got nothing against ships. Like, ship whoever the hell you want as long as it's not hurting anybody. Like, you are perfectly valid to do that. But it's also perfectly valid for me to find Lillia and Yone's ship gross. That's not just because I don't like Yone. I have kind of headcanoned Lillia as ace, even arrow ace, like myself. Because I found that a character like her who is incredibly shy, shyness, I find, is a great metaphor for being arrow ace. Because Lillia is so shy, she doesn't want to get close to people. She doesn't want to interact with them. She is scared of social interactions. She's grateful for the friendship she has. Like, she's friends with Yone, at least I hope it's just fruits. And of course, she has a good relationship with Ivern. What? I clearly do not know how Aurora's interaction works. It's also just because I'm also very shy in public settings. You wouldn't know. I've tried to get out of my comfort zone. YouTube has helped with that a lot. But if you look back at some of my older videos, it's also because I like Lillia being arrow ace, or at least, you know, not involved in relationships physically, because it's gross, and the internet has ruined her for that. Like, for some reason, like, okay, like at least with Zion, Rakan, or Set, like they're mostly people, still find it weird. But like, Lillia is a deer. Not even like she has just hooves or antlers. Like, the entire lower half of her body is a deer. You can't do the business with Lillia. It's so gross. Obviously, a certain someone has helped to popularize that, but I won't name names here. I think it's just that Lillia, to me, is just such a pure and wholesome character. The idea of her doing that, I say as I kill somebody, but she's such a pure and wholesome character that I can't imagine her doing something like that. It kind of repulses me more than most of that stuff does. But I guess now we can get onto her design, which I've mentioned her shyness a lot, and unlike where Aurora, where I admittedly, after looking back at her story and stuff, a large portion of my Aurora casual review was talking about how she was shy, and she's not really that much, so those arguments for it are kind of moot. But Lillia absolutely is. That is one of her core characterizations. She's got these big doughy eyes, floppy ears, these dainty little legs. I think it's a good use of the animal half as well, because deers are known for being very skittish, like very elusive creatures sometimes. I think it's a great way to actually incorporate the animal into the character design. Aurora. But the weird thing about her is that she's not a Vastaya. By all metrics, she should be, but she isn't. She's technically a Fae, because she's just like a spirit creature spawned from the Mother Tree. It's theorized that the Mother Tree dreamed of a protector of sorts, and it dreamed of the old protectors of the God Willow, which were the Vastaya Shirei, which are the supposedly long extinct ancestors to the Vastaya. The thing is, though, the Vastaya Shirei are so massively distanced from humanity. This was before they actually started mingling with humans. That's how the Vastaya came to be. Oh God, who fed that thing? The Vastaya Shirei, if it weren't for Nico kind of confusing everything, should look completely inhuman when they still had shape-shifting properties. That's why Nico's got shape-shifting stuff. And the thing is, it's hard to compare and say she's not a Vastaya when you look at, for example, we have the Mourned in LOR, who is a centaur like a Vastaya. It's like, well, she actually looks kind of more animalistic than Lillia does. The whole thing gets confusing. Realistically, she just kind of looks like a human torso taped to a deer body. Not a whole lot of fantastical elements besides being a centaur. What's the term for, gosh, I know there's a term for centaurs that are deers, but I don't remember it. The bud on her head. It's supposed to be like a remnant from when she was born. Like she was born prematurely from the mother tree or something, and the bud stuck on her. I don't know. Let's do some bowling. Oh, yes. Cho'Gath, you rat. That was mine. I mean, she's got some naturey parts about her as well. Kind of flower petal hair. She's got like weird leaf bikini stuff though. Like I guess it's an attempt to clothe her, but again, the Vastaya Shirei were basically animals and didn't really wear clothes, so I find it strange, especially that it's weird. I don't know. It doesn't help that people objectifying her. She doesn't really have anything fantastical about her design, you know, except for being a centaur, besides the little glowy bits that she'll get on her hooves and the back of her back. It's strange because she's supposed to be a being made of dreams, and she doesn't really look any different from any other Vastaya. Like Set even has glowing bits. Zaya's feathers glow, and Nico has her glowing tattoos. She has nothing to distinguish her from being a normal Vastaya, which I think they could have gone really crazy in making her a dream creature. And you can see in the concept art they did that. They were trying to cycle it between like a day-night thing that didn't really pan out, and the deer makes another getaway. So now I can finally bring up my version of Lillia that I made. This is I'll probably find either the oldest one or the second oldest one I did, but prepare myself for very old NickyBoi art. I say old like it wasn't like 3 years ago. My god, my art style was horrible. So I'll just explain my ideas because this was not the final rendition I ended up doing. So the main goal of it was obviously to make her more fantastical and whimsical, and also priority was to make her less top heavy, because I find that base Lillia kind of is, like her tail's so short. So you notice I made a big bushy squirrel tail, little small wings, because I imagine she's like gliding while she's hopping around. The hair itself made to look like actual flower petals. She's got big swirling horns akin to Willump's horns, because before they kind of changed everything with the Yetis, Willump's whole look was because Nunu has imagination magic, and so that's how Nunu appeared to him in his mind, and then they just changed the Yetis kind of always looked like that. But that was actually a major point of criticism I had when I designed it, because they're like, but Lillia is female, only male deer have antlers. Then if you look in Lilia's skin, she literally has some form of antlers in every single one of them. I also made the branch bulkier and reduced the flower petal, make it more of a bonking stick. So what was wrong with this design? Why did I change it a bunch? My main critiques of my own design, and also input from you fellas back when I first made this, is one, that it was way too visually cluttered. Like, I really like the wings and the big bushy squirrel tail to help even her out a bit, because again, like, she is so top heavy. Like the front side of her has the torso and the ears, the hair, the bud, the staff, and the back half is just like this tiny little deer tail, and incorporated stuff like birds and squirrels and stuff. One, to mix serve a bunch of different kinds of animals. That incorporating the birds and the squirrels and stuff, as well as the deers, was trying to not only make her more of a hybrid of different kinds of animals, but they were all also similar to deers, that they're very skittish animals. But again, because of that, there was just way too much going on. The wings were too large, the tail was too big. And you notice, like, I removed the bud as well on her hair because I thought it was just too much clutter, and I also removed the bud on her branch and made the branch very bulky to make it more like a bonking stick. But because of that, she ended up losing that callback to where she came from with the mother tree. Oh, and the deer makes her escape once again. But making the branch so big as well made it way too bulky. It doesn't even look like she could lift it. And I made all her proportions a lot thicker. I didn't make her look as dainty as she probably should be. And the antlers, I really like the idea of the antlers, but they look too similar to Willump. And like I said, they kind of changed how the Yeti lore is, so I opted to redesign Lillia. And this is the one that stuck around. It's art that I am much more proud of. It's more consistent with my current art style. The goal, again, was to give back more of the typical Lillia-isms while still keeping some of the things that I really wished had been changed. So she is still less human. She's, you know, she doesn't have any human skin at all. She's a deer all over. You'll notice as well that the wings are gone and the tail is no longer a squirrel tail, but it is still very large and bushy. Again, again, I still wanted to try and balance her out, the weight distribution of her character design. So I really like the large tail, just keeping it more deer, not look as a bit too invasive of the design. I also slimmed down her staff tremendously to be more like how it is normally and give her bud back, because I think that is still a staple of her design. I should have kept originally, but still kept the hairstyle that I had before, because I really wanted to keep the antlers. I want to keep the big floppy ears, obviously, and she has her big poofy leaf petal hair, which still I tried to keep that intact. But adding the bud on top of that, it would be too cluttered on her head. There'd be too many things. And I think having the bud that symbolizes her own dream is more important than having the bud that symbolizes her being born prematurely. But instead she would have other references to how she was spawned from the mother tree. So she has little wooden legs, and her antlers are made of wood, the same wood as the staff, which was a branch from the mother tree. So I think it kind of more visually symbolizes that she was once a part of it. And I changed the leaf decorations. I didn't mention it in the previous version, but I tried to make the leaf bikini instead of some more leaf decorations, and I think I made them look a bit too decorative and unnatural. So in the new version I changed them to more just leaves growing off of her, as well as there's little glowing flowers growing on her antlers and on her back, in place of the random kind of glowing spots that are on her normally. Ah, you stupid rabbit. And of course, trying to keep her a lot more dainty and nimble, although I think that's a lot more of my just my art style evolving a bit, but trying to keep that shy element intact. The main goals were just to keep that shyness, keep the deer aspect, but make her look a bit more fantastical, a bit more dream-like, less like the Vastaya that we know, like Zaya and Rakan, and emphasize the things that I did like about her, like the leaf hair or using a branch as a weapon. And overall, just make her a bit more unique. I think of all the redesigns I've done Cass, Lillia, Soraka, Shyvana, and Cho'Gath. And I think Lillia, in terms of like my community, I'm pretty sure Lillia has been like the second most popular, because it's not a radical change like Cho'Gath is, or even like Shyvana. And I know for the few people that actually care about the redesigns that I do in that way, are wanting to see me do more of them beyond just the snake, which again, the stuff coming for her once the big video is finished. I'm very excited for this thing to be finally done. I just don't think there's really any point in returning to Shyvana, because she's already confirmed to be getting an official rework. It was funny though that the pose and build is pretty much identical to the drawing I did. That's a hilarious coincidence, but I'm excited for her official VGU. Just means I probably won't work on her anymore. But I still am very proud of the Lillia redesign, and Cass and Cho'Gath, and proud of Soraka as well. I'd like to do more with Soraka at some point. In the fan art section stuff that I've seen so far as I'm recording this, some people have done art of the Lillia redesign, and it's just wonderful. There's been quite a lot of artwork of her. It's so great. Usually, like I've had these things where I don't really like critiquing my viewers' redesigns of stuff, because I feel like I don't want to get overly critical about someone's passion project. I think it's more fun to be critical of actual corporate things like League of Legends champions, like official ones. But I think it's totally fine people are like openly asking for criticism or thoughts, and I would like to pass that off to you fellas. What do you think of the redesign that I did? What do you like about it? What would you change? I am open to trying to improve my craft. I'm not the best character designer in the world, obviously. I could never be a concept artist because I take too long to draw things. I usually just go with my first draft. But the updated design that I did for Lillia, and same for Soraka as well, which I'll put up the first rendition and second rendition of Soraka on screen. I only managed to improve that because I did ask for constructive criticism, and I think they're a lot better for it. I'm kind of surprised I was allowed enough time to talk about all that without the game ending, because I should probably talk about Lillia's gameplay, which is a very strange thing to discuss for me. Again, you might have noticed that I've been playing Lillia mid, and that's primarily because if you look back at the season 2020 rewind that I did, the first one, geez, I still gotta, I'm working on season 7, okay? You'll notice my perception of Lillia is very different to how I feel about her now, or how I've been talking about her. Because when she first came out, I didn't really care. And in fact, I was kind of aggravated by her, because this was at that dark time where we didn't have any monster champions or creature champions. Every champion was designed to be this very appealing, attractive character, and it worked for Lillia even though it shouldn't. And so the idea that Lillia counted as our monster champion for that year, when people were hoping for like a Rek'Sai level monster or Cho'Gath or anything like that, and we just get like you know, torso duct taped to a deer. And so the idea of losing out on what should have been a proper monster champion, as well as I just didn't like her gameplay because she was designed to be a jungler, and I just didn't enjoy it. She felt super awkward and clunky as a jungler. Thematically, it makes sense because, you know, she's traveling all over the world. The typical, like, kiting playstyle of the jungle, like you do with Kindred or even Graves, it didn't vibe with me at all. And so I only played as many games as I needed to for that rewind. I think it was only like maybe 2 games. And of course, my absolutely visceral hatred of Yone helped to mask my disappointment with Lillia. So I didn't really give her a second chance. But then one day I was on my merry way, just playing League of Legends with friends. So before the mastery changes, because I hate the mastery changes so much, one of my favorite things to do in League was learning new champions. So I'd randomly pick like, okay, you know what? Today I want to learn how to play Gragas, or today I want to play Lethality Caitlyn. And I randomly saw one day that Lillia was getting some lane buffs. Like, I think it was more healing or something, or a bit more, less mana on Q or something like that. And I thought, you know, what the hell? I play Ivern mid and Volibear mid, who are supposed to be junglers. You know, I'm open to learning new stuff. Why don't I give it a try? And it just clicked instantly. My mind was unlocked. My brain was in full, like, oh my God, this is great. And because I actually took the time to play her and listen to her voice lines and stuff, I fell in love with the character in a wholesome way. Like, I completely empathize with her shyness. She's just like me for real. And she has such a unique play style of being, it was until Aurora came out. Speaking of, this whole play style of hit and run was just really engaging. I had so much fun. And I mean, speed is always fun. She doesn't really have a dash per se. The W is kind of a dash. I mean, it counts as one, but it's not really. She's just about going fast. Run in, whack 'em, run away, whack 'em. Like, it's such a fun mechanic and just such a fun play pattern, which is probably why I'm going to end up trying Aurora a bit more. But it's also because I think they made Drowsy and Sleep, which was introduced with Zoe. Oh, Gecko. Oh, Garen. Oh, Aurora. What is happening? Is everyone just like jumping in to die? I think they made it a lot more fair than Zoe, who was incredibly frustrating. Delegating it to her ult probably helps a lot. Bonk. Goodbye, Gecko. And I think it's like Zion Rakan, where this kind of very skittish hit and run back, hide behind somewhere, throw something from a distance, and just run back in, go really fast. Perfect use of the animal, of the deer, like Zion Rakan used the birds. I'm going to keep coming back to how Aurora doesn't capitalize on being a bunny at all. I think it is great. I really, really like it. That's a subjective, although everything I say on this channel is subjective. You should take anything I say with a grain of salt. Okay, skins. They're all great. I wish they don't have to wait so long in between each one. I don't know. I think probably Shanghai Skull is my favorite. All right, see you fellas next time. Thank you for watching this casual champion review, and I'll see you next week for Lysandra. Take care. Okay, goodbye. I'm not gonna say eep.